Welcome to Start to Finish Motherhood, a podcast for those thinking or already single mothers by choice, just looking for practical advice for navigating life's relationships. When you decide to have children on your own, it doesn't mean that you're completely alone. I'm Aisha Jenkins, and I'm partnering with you every step of your journey.
Hi, everybody. I am here today with a friend in my head, and this is the first time that we are meeting virtually in the same space. We've been in community together for years, and I absolutely love your energy. I love following your journey. I follow you on Instagram. I follow your YouTube, and it is I feel so privileged to have followed so many people on their journey. And so the theme for season 3 is What's It Like? And the conversation that I'm here to have today with Charon is what's it like to be a 20-something person who has entered the thinking stage of being at SMC while also living a fabulous, wonderfully content life. And so I don't think people appreciate enough that this is actually a journey. So when we talk about the single mother by choice journey and not having to walk it alone, it is a journey. For some people, it's a matter of weeks. For some people, it's months. For others, it's years. And so many of us think long and hard about this path, about our goals, our hopes and dreams for the future. And then sometimes we do end up actually pursuing the single mother by choice path. And sometimes we don't when we realize that we need more time. And so I'm here with Charon, who is, 28. Charon began her thinking phase a few years ago, and we're here today to talk about the thinking phase, balancing that with living life, and then checking to see where Charon is. But first, I'm going to ask Charon to please introduce herself to the listening audience. Charon.
Hi, my name is Charon. I am 28. I am from Chicago, born and raised, but I live in the suburbs. My job is I work in finance and accounting, and I'm still in the thinking stage, even though I've been in this space for a few years. This is a marathon, not a sprint, as Aisha likes to say. So here we are.
Thank you. Okay. So having spent some time in the thinking phase myself, I know that there's a lot of self-reflection that goes on. So can you share with us and tease apart some of the things that you've been thinking about as you've been on this thinking phase?
Mainly, it's been the finances as well as just my own limitations. Knowing that you're going to be doing this yourself, you have to take a big lens, like a finer point into your own limitations before you even start thinking about donor choices or what kind of child you're going to have. You have to know that this is something you can or cannot do. And so that's really where I'm at. I am working through a lot of ADHD, autism, which we can get into later, of course. But because of those, I know I'm going to need more assistance. So that's why the thinking stage is taking me so long, because I know I'm going to need help. And I still haven't figured out what kind of help I'm going to need.
Okay. And then I know in the past, we've talked about things that you're passionate about, like you're still finding Charon, right? You're still deciding if Chicago is going to be your forever home. You're dating. We have a love relationship with Trader Joe's. All right. So let's get into some of the finer details. You gave us an idea of just the big pieces of your puzzle. So let's talk about who you're talking to during the thinking phase. So I know I had a few trusted ears. And I think I've said this on the podcast before, that the thinking phase is really a protected stage. You're very vulnerable. You're unsure. You're peeling back layers of yourself, and you're revealing things that you may or may not like. You're revealing things about your family, your support system that you may or may not like. So who are the people that you are talking to that you find to be a safe space? And then some people that you found were not safe spaces.
Well, I had a friend in Spain. She's very supportive pretty much of anything I do, as long as I'm not a detriment to myself or society. That's pretty much our like boundary. Like, hey, don't harm yourself, don't harm anybody else. You're good. I was talking to her about it, and then another local friend, and then I spoke to my mom about it, just because my mom was a single mother. She is not really too into me being a single parent, just because she knows how difficult it was. So that is something that I'm also keeping in mind, that my childhood was very difficult, with very little resources, very little help from like my mom and her friends or family. So it was pretty much just my mom raising us without any assistance. So if my mom needed to go to work and had to leave us at home, we were simply at a certain age, you were simply left at home. It's illegal now. So like, don't do that now. That's illegal now. But yeah, so it's just like, those three. And then I spoke to a therapist about it. It's just more so, I know I forget a lot of things for me. And I know I want to be the best I can be for whatever child I have, because I know it's just going to be me as the sole caregiver. So because I know that, I've been working through the ADHD diagnosis, and then as well as the autism diagnosis. I have an appointment later this month with a therapist to talk through being officially diagnosed and maybe seeing if meds will help. If the meds don't help, then I have to start thinking about maybe I cannot become a single mother by choice if the meds don't help me more of the day-to-day things that I'm forgetting.
Okay. All right. And so have you had any conversations with people that you realize, oh, maybe you're not in my corner. Maybe you're not as supportive as I thought you were.
Oh, absolutely. I had one friend tell me it was a mistake because I had chosen a donor. She was like, why would you do that? Why would you become a single mom? I was like, hold on. Like, first of all, we're both adults. So like, I don't need to be chastised or talked to like I don't have my full capacity. I was like, this is what I want to do. I say dating is not working out for me. This is something I'm looking into. So like, whether you like it or not, homie chilling on ice. I did my DNA ancestry and I sold my donor back because I may have some of the things that he had. So I would be a carrier. He would be a carrier. So now I'm starting over from like square one. It's been a wild 6 months.
Okay. All right. All right. See, so it sounds like you're using the time wisely, right? And you're just taking your time and you're going through all the information so that you can make a more informed choice. All right. So what questions are they asking you?
My friends have asked me like, okay, they asked what's wrong with me. They were like, why can't you just, of course, the usual, why can't you just go find someone? As if he's going to fall out of the sky. And I was like, no, I'm not just looking for someone. I'm looking for someone that is going to mesh well with what I have going on. And if I can't find that, I either simply won't become a parent or I'll do it myself. And I know I want to become a mom, so I was willing to do it myself. But as I started to go further into the journey and tell more of my friends about it, a lot of them did not understand that families are changing, that things are not the same ways they used to be a generation ago. So it's a lot of people are still stuck in their old ways, pretty much. So I just stopped talking to people about my journey and I would just journal or I would talk to a therapist because to me, I don't need to be told that it's a silly decision. I feel like if I'm not harming myself, just leave me be. Yeah. Just let me make my own choices. So I just speak pretty much to a therapist about it now. And the therapists that I've spoken to, they've been pretty supportive. And I think because they have a more diverse client base from like queer families to actual single parents, both male, female, etc. I think being surrounded by more diversity leads people to be a bit more open about the single mother by path,
Yeah, I agree. Okay. And so have you gotten any really weird questions or questions that made you laugh out loud?
I got some weird questions because my donor was Asian and white. And the white portion was where we ended up having some of the same carrying things. I found out that my grandfather was white. I found out. So that led me to further question certain things. And so that means my mom's half. That means that I'm like above 20%. So that 20% was where I had to check for the BRCA gene, all those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. So I've had some people question me about the way my child's eyes are going to come out. I'm like, oh, his eyes are going to be, whatever racial term
2020?
Yeah.
2020?
Yeah. And then like, how they obviously some of the eyes are a little bit, somebody called my baby, I hate to use the term, it was like a racial term. They called my baby a chink. I was like, it doesn't even exist. And I was like, you guys are using racial slurs. I found out some of my friends were not very supportive of Asian people. I had no idea as a non-Asian. They're no longer in my friend group because I don't tolerate bigotry and racism. It still felt like no matter what I choose, you guys are going to have something to say. So like, you got to go. We're done here. Our journey's over. Yeah.
Yep. I think I did find out a lot about loved ones and friends, either when I became a parent, when they became a parent, or at certain points in the journey. And it's just like, yeah, I think our friendship has come to an end or a long pause and, let's regroup in our 60s. Now, sometimes we'll get questions and questions will trigger us, or, we might say something in the moment, but it'll stay with us and we go back and we think about it. We think long and hard. We pick it apart. Why was I triggered? Did you ever get any of those types of questions? Just opportunities to reflect.
Yeah, I had a friend. I keep saying friends. These are all former friends, for the record. I don't talk to these people. So let's put that out there. No, I had someone ask me. They were like, "What's wrong with you that you can't find someone?" They were like, "You've been dating for 10 years. What's wrong with you?" And that really triggered me because it was like, "Hold on, we're not going to blame a systemic failure on me, like Charon out here just ruining everything for everybody." No, if all of us, regardless of race, regardless of origin, age, etc., all of us are struggling, it's not a me problem. During the pandemic, I saw a report on Google. During the pandemic, there was such a rise in women looking into adoption and sperm donation. During the pandemic, they're like, clearly there's a systemic failure here that has nothing to do with me and why I can't find a man. I'm swiping in other countries, other states, etc., and I'm still struggling to find someone that's not a misogynist, not a bigot, all of the extra stuff. I don't think that's a me problem. And it did trigger me, but I'm not gonna lie. I was heated. I was like, well, first of all, I did have to step away from the conversation to calm down. Her and I are no longer friends. The same woman recently told me that I sent her men in my life. I said, have you seen my life? I say that don't match. So I just feel like she was projecting a lot of her own insecurities as to why she hasn't found a mate either. But instead of extending a helping hand or like a hug, I got blamed for like why I couldn't find someone. So yeah, no, that really triggered me. And I have a therapy appointment about it. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna come back to dating, but I do find that having gone through portions of the journey, it is so easy for people to project their insecurities, their anxieties, their issues onto your life decisions. And after having gone through a series of those, I've gotten so comfortable with saying, I'm so glad that that's what you want to do for your life. Right. And so I think realizing I'm a big fan of the pause and understanding that when I feel triggered, that it's not always me. It could also be the other person. And so I'm a firm believer in allowing people to be in their altered state of reality, and less is more. So say less. Right. And so it's like,
you wouldn't go to God about that, but not me. Take it to the altar. I'm not me. No.
Right. Try God, not me. All right. So let's talk about dating, because people will assume, like some of your former friends, that, okay, you're either not trying hard enough, you haven't tried space, you haven't tried, they're like, go under the sea. Ariel found her mate that way. They're like, swipe left, swipe right, swipe up, swipe down. Let's talk about the dating landscape for young people, because I am closer to 50. So when I think about, talk about dating, people will be like, oh, you just haven't tried hard enough. There's new things out there. Try dating for Facebook, try dating, on Instagram. And I'm just like, I am getting to the point where it's just, no, I think I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna go out in a headscarf and slippers and run my errands, and what catches me catches me. So how's the dating scene? And sometimes we think is better for younger people.
I can say no, it's not. I've been doing this since I was 17. It's not. No, these some of these men, I can't speak for all because like statistically I haven't met all men until just before somebody come in the comments. So I'm like, you ain't met all men. No, I know I haven't met all men. No, I will say a lot of them, because I'm 28 now. So now I'm in the 27 through 33 age bracket. That's kind of like the sweet spot for me. A lot of them either have too much debt, or they're viewing you as competition instead of as a good mate choice. Because now a lot of us are coming out of college. We're all making the same roughly amount of money. There really is, especially amongst people of color, there's really not a lot of times a breadwinner. We're just simply two brown people trying to make it. You know what I mean? There's really a lot of times what's going on. And then for me, some of my friends only date, some of my Black friends only date Black men, which I fully support, Black love. But like some of them only date Black men. But for me, I date them all. I don't care where you're from, just be nice. Regardless of color, a lot of them just simply don't have what it takes to be a partner. They have no emotional intelligence. They don't believe in therapy or whatever They believe, women belong in the kitchen. Some of them, like, how are you 28 and believe women belong in the kitchen? Your own mother wasn't even in the kitchen. So it's just, you have all these different ideas. And then now with people being more fluid in their sexuality, some people are now polyamorous, which obviously some of them probably have always have been, but now it's a lot more easy to be. I actually have been seeing a polyamorous man. It's been a very interesting experience. My mama don't approve, but like, she don't approve of a lot of things. I do. I love her, but like,
look, I was like, that's what the joy of college was. It's like, I'm no longer in your house. My rules are my rules. And it's like, okay, let's explore. So yeah.
Hey, meeting this polyamorous man, he did raise my standard on a lot of things. My standards, despite being quite high, were actually too low. I figured out through him they were too low, which is like it did trigger me because I was like, damn, my standards are that low and y'all still failing. So I did have to.
Girl, it's like a Tyler Perry movie.
With the toe up wig and everything. Yes. So I found out through him that like I shouldn't have to beg for things to be done for me. I shouldn't have to do like I told him on my first date, we were talking. I said I want to wear heels and I want to wear a dress. Here's the location. I gave him Schaumburg and he planned everything out. That was it. He just told me that he told me this is the reservation, this is the time. I will meet you there. And then this is during the summer, so I don't know if you saw my reel where I got dressed and I had bought like those pink shoes. So he knew I was wearing pink, so he matched my accessories.
Oh,
I know. I was like, it was so shocking. I was like, my standards are low. I was so shocked. Even now, even though he and I don't talk as much anymore because life got busy. Even talking to him, like he knows I love coffee. He'll let me rant about like a shitty latte any day of the week. And I'm like, this is exactly what I've been looking for.
You find your people.
Yeah, even if he and I, like, even if like whatever man I meet in the future, even if he and I don't have any children or anything, the level of companionship is just really what I've been searching for. And you have like us, we don't even know each other, and our companionship is so enriching, so fulfilling that when you get to the other side of the spectrum, when you're dating men, they leave you wanting a lot. They leave you wanting basic empathy. I had to tell a man this week. I was like, because we had a tornado up here. It was pretty bad. Everyone at O'Hare was locked down. Like my house was shaking and the roof was creaking. It was pretty bad, and I had lost power for a bit. So I did cry because I was like, I was in this house by myself. I was like, oh my God. So like I did have a little moment of like, and I told him that like I cried, and he was like, LOL. And I was like, so are you laughing at me for crying? He's like, yeah, a little. I was like, okay. I did tell him that like I don't have the capacity to do grown man empathy. That like clearly if someone's scared enough that they cried a bit, that maybe that laughing at them is not the like correct choice of action. You could at least check in. That man went to sleep on me, Aisha. That man went to sleep and texted me the next day. Did you survive? Sir, your access has been revoked. Take that somewhere else. I'm not. No, I was so shocked. And like this man was 32, so I fully expected a developed frontal lobe. But like that's long story short. It's rough on this end of the spectrum too.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about Trader Joe's. Have you met anybody at Trader Joe's?
I did meet a man. He was married though, so that don't count. He didn't have a ring on though, so like he tricked me.
I think the new ringless is the new ring or what have you. So let's talk about our Trader Joe's obsession. So
okay, go ahead.
Y'all, when you talk about people speaking your love language, Charon knows that my love language is a Trader Joe's bag. And so
I actually have one for you from Michigan.
Thank you.
The mail tomorrow. Yeah, when I drove to Canada, I made a stop at Trader Joe's and I got you a bag.
Canada have a Trader? I mean, you something on your paper?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Okay.
I drove through Michigan. And I stopped on my way. I was right outside Detroit and I stopped and grabbed a Trader Joe's bag. So
can I tell you, I feel so special when I go into my Trader Joe's stores and I pull out my bags and they be looking at my bags like, oh, like this is a cute one. So
yeah, and I even found one. I found one without like any dirt marks. So I'll pick out a good one, like the one that don't have any rips or dirt marks or whatever. I know I wouldn't want that.
See, and that's what I love about Black sisterhood. I have always found comfort and love just for who I am and all my quirks with Black women. And like, we are not a monolith. And to have people who understand the value of being thought of as you are walking the aisles of Trader Joe's. And every time I pull out my bags, I think of you. So thank you for indulging me.
Yeah, no, of course. No, girl, I went out my way. I was on there. I was in Kalamazoo. I was in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's like the most random town. And I
Uh-huh.
stopped and got coffee. Because I'm trying not to support Starbucks, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying
We
not to
know.
support them. So I was
Mhm.
trying to find something else. There was nothing else open. It was like 6 a.m. I was trying to find something else. And then I realized, I said, is that a Trader Joe's? I literally did like a double take. I was like, is that a Trader Joe's? I saw it from the street. I was about to get on the
Pop the
highway.
U-turn.
I made me a little U-turn. I was like, you know what? Let me just go on in here. I did meet a man in Trader Joe's. He complimented my glasses. He complimented my coat and everything. But no, we ultimately didn't exchange numbers because he was looking for something super serious. And even though I'm looking for companionship, I'm not trying to marry somebody tomorrow. So I feel like
Okay.
at that point, thank you for the ego boost, but like, I think you and I are looking for the same.
All right. So, y'all, if you can't tell already, we have shifted into the living life portion of the thinking phase. And so, aside from shopping at Trader Joe's and picking up bags for me, tell us a little bit about, okay, so what are you doing with your hair? I know you let your hair grow out at one point. Now you're back to being a baldy baddie. Tell us about that. Living life.
Mainly, I was seeing someone that I saw in the summertime, and like this situation kind of dragged out longer than like I wanted it to, and I felt like I almost lost a bit of myself, so to speak, and I fell into old patterns that like younger me would have did, and I realized a lot that like I just need to start over. I was like, I just need fresh. I said, I don't want to be distracted by anything. I say so. I re-enrolled in college. I decided to book me a hair appointment. I told my barber. I sent him the emoji, snip, snip. He already know what it is. I sent him the bald head emoji and some scissors. And when I came in there, he was like, "So what we doing?" And I said, "Just make it even." And in and out, and that was pretty much it. I just wanted a fresh start. Now I'm looking at apartments. So just overall, just a fresh start as I begin trying to figure out what to do with myself.
I love that. I love that. So I love people living their best lives and being in the moment and being happy with where they are. So let's talk about your social media, your Instagram, and all the little journeys and adventures that you're on. So let's talk about how that has evolved because I remember when you got started and I would check in on you and I'm like, how you doing? You're like, oh my gosh, it took me so long to create this YouTube video. So let's talk about where you are in your content creation journey and how it's possibly helping you in your thinking phase.
Well, I started when I first started making content. This is back in like 20. I was working at Starbucks. I was working 2 jobs. So I was working at Starbucks and I was doing food delivery. And so I'm just documenting here and there. It wasn't too serious or anything. Then I got back into accounting. And then I realized I was like, oh, I could do day in the life. But it didn't really fit like me. I would have had to keep the camera on me. I didn't have enough phone storage. It was all these problems. I was like, I just don't have the capacity. So then I kind of stopped for a bit. Then working at Starbucks, I realized I actually deeply enjoyed coffee. And it reminded me of my trip to Europe I took in 2018. And so I was like, you know what? I say, when I came back, I made a promise to myself that I'd find other coffee than the fast food coffee. And I was like, you ADHD. I was like, you forgot. I said, girl, you forgot. So then I was like, you know what? Let me just start looking. I'm in an area where there's some coffee. I was like, let me start looking. So that was 2020, end of 2020, going into 2021. Then I realized I'm in a good area. There's lots of coffee here. So now I do coffee. Now I do it's been some years now. Now I do coffee. Now I do rent week videos because I realized there was no one being transparent about like living by yourself. Everybody glamorized it. Oh my God, I'm living here. I'm moving out at 20. No, I moved out and had to move back and then I moved back out. So somebody had to be real about like what life really is. And I found that there was nobody Black specifically, nobody that looked like us in that space. And I felt like even if my following is small, even if it's just my family and friends, somebody out here has to be honest. A lot of my friends that I went to high school with, they actually said that my being honest actually helped them budget and figure out what was too expensive and what they actually couldn't afford. So even though, I'm rich or not and I don't get paid off this, I think it's important that sometimes when God calls you to create, regardless of whether or not it turns into a financial boon for you, somebody has to do it. Because if we don't do it, if the creators don't do it, there's no one else. If that's our calling, if that's our journey, we need to step up to the plate and get started.
right? Otherwise, other people will write your stories for you. They'll be like, yeah, that little Black girl, she liked this.
Mhm.
And you'd be like, no, I don't. So if you don't
Mhm.
tell your story, if you don't own your narrative, somebody else will. Okay.
Mhm.
So what's going into your thought process about where you're going to live geographically? So I know you said you're thinking like you're getting the itch, explore more. So thinking about the entirety of your future, whether you become a single mom, whether you become partnered, what are you thinking? What's in your criteria?
Well, right now I'm getting started with finishing my degree, my associates. I've been trying to do that since 2019. Girl, pray for me. Um, I girl, no life been life. Then you had the pandemic. They didn't have enough laptops. They wasn't nothing online. Then you had to wait 2 years because it was a whole mess. Then they finally let me up in there for them to have a wait list. Anyway, so I'm trying to finish my degree. So I'm taking some things via proficiency exam. So I have maybe 5 of those. So that'll be another 20 credits. And then that'll leave me 14 that I need. And then I'll be done with my associates. I don't think I'm ever going to go for a bachelor's. School's not for me because a lot of times the financial stuff that they're teaching in the schools, I'm doing this stuff every day. I'm doing the general ledger entries. I'm doing the reconciliation. That ain't matching what I'm doing every day. So I'm finding the struggle of I have to go to office hours with the professors so I don't fail because the system, the portal that they use to teach you, it's all a computer. There's no actual human thought behind it. So a lot of the things that are actually correct are not correct answers per the algorithm. So I'm trying to finish my degree. And then once I finish that, I'm going to then, so I have 10 years of experience. So once I finish that, I'm going to compile it together, fix my resume, reach out to my contacts across the globe because I have contacts on the East Coast, West Coast, the South, and I even have some contacts in Canada. So I want to see pretty much what's out there. Like what do you guys have that actually pays enough for me to live well? But I also still want to be near my parents. They're nearing 50. So I want to be sure that like as they age and as they take care of their health. So just overall, there's a lot of like tiny bits and pieces, like the chess pieces I have to put into play before I can say, all right, say goodbye. I have friends in Nashville. They want me down there. But I told them, I say, y'all don't have reproductive rights. So that's also something, that's also something just in case. So
Yes.
Illinois, I truly want to live somewhere else. But seeing them get rid of no fault divorce across the country in a lot of places, seeing them get rid of reproductive rights, I'm like, there's really like a small, like, ain't nowhere.
Thread that needle carefully.
Right. Ain't nowhere to go. So you're like, okay, hold on. Just let me take some time to think. I don't quite feel finished with Illinois. I actually have some apartment hunting I'm doing tomorrow. I have 3 apartments I'm going to see tomorrow.
Okay,
um
I want to see a reel. I want to see.
it'll be a YouTube video because that way I'll be able
Okay.
to tell all my thoughts. But I will make a reel the split screen. On CapCut, they have a template you can use to make the split screen. So yes, so I'm pretty much just trying to fix my life in Illinois first before I decide to jump ship. Similarly to what I said earlier about Spain, I'm not quite done with Illinois. She's still got a little life left in her, so I'm not quite done. And also, I don't really mind our governor. So there's just overall, I'm paying attention to the quality of life I'm going to have if I chose to live in each state. My plan is to, when I travel in the next few places I'm going, to do some apartment hunting, to take a look at 1 or 2 apartments as I'm there to see if this is even something that could fit my life or any children I have, to see if it could actually be a good fit. What does the area look like? Are there a lot of kids? I don't want my kid to be the only kid on the block, that sort of thing. I didn't expect it to like be this deep in terms of thought process. So you see partner people, they just out here popping out babies. They just
Look,
they
it goes deep. I think I had an episode last season where I said I wished that people who were partnered put as
Mhm,
much thought into who they would have children with as we put
mhm,
into what the life that we want and how we want to raise our children. I think the world would be a much better place.
mhm.
So Sharon, what other tips do you have for people who are on the earlier end of the thinking phase, on the younger end of the age spectrum? What advice would you give them for considering this path, or things that you've learned so far in your journey?
I'll say number one, truly know whether or not you want to become a mother. This is not a part-time job. This is not a, oh, the daddy's home. I'm gonna let him. No, it's all you. It's all you. And I'm speaking as someone who was raised by a single mother who never got any breaks. And even now, she lived 5 minutes from me. I'm on my way to her house to bother her now. So I'm just saying, know that this is a full-time, forever job. Sure, they become independent, but these are still going to be your babies. I'm 28. My mom still introduces me as her baby. So when I show up, they looking for a toddler. It's me. So it's a full-time job. To truly know your finances, know that, like, if you only make $60,000 a year and you living in Illinois, respectfully, that ain't gonna be enough. That's not even enough for an adult. So you're gonna have to think about where that extra money gonna come in. And if that means you gotta leave and go live in Wisconsin, I saw an apartment for $700 yesterday. I know, girl. So I'm just saying that, like, sometimes you have to truly, like, just be okay with saying that, like, I have to wait because I don't make enough money. I don't have enough. If you don't have enough to buy a vial, if you don't have enough to buy several, sometimes you really got to say, yo, I got to wait. 3, know your job.
Quick question. The Starbucks.
Yes.
Were you working at Starbucks? What was the reason behind? I think I know the reason. Were you working at?
Went there because I needed some insurance. Then when I got there, they was like, oh, we offer IVF. And I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. When I tell you the Hammy work is so tough, I never went to the doctor. Girl, when I tell you, I mean, I met some really good friends. So, like, it wasn't a total loss. But, like, I did meet a woman who was there solely because she was there for her second. They call them Starbucks babies.
Okay.
So she was there for her second Starbucks babies. There is a group called Starbucks IVF Warriors on Facebook where they answer all your insurance questions. They tell you pretty much this insurance is better than this one. I'm in that group solely because I haven't left. I may go back to Starbucks if I need assistance. But one thing I didn't realize with Starbucks is they offer that to their entire company, whether you're a barista part-time or whether you are in the accounting department in their corporate office. I didn't know that at the time. So just do your research. Don't just do what I did and just get a job there and then work yourself into the ground when you didn't even get to the doctor. I was paying all that money for it. Girl, I'm still upset. That was 2020 and I'm still upset about that.
Okay, so I interrupted you. You say 3. So that was the finances.
Yeah, no, know your job, know your career, and know that, like, it may not be conducive to the single motherhood by choice. Like, I originally wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse, but I realized I wanted to do night shift. That was going to be my thing. I was hella excited about that per diem, girl. Hella excited. So I realized if I wanted to be a parent, whether partnered or otherwise, that wasn't going to be a good fit. There in my area, there's literally no overnight childcare. None that you can trust really outside of family. So, like, I knew then, I said, that's not going to be an option for me. So I stuck with accounting. Do I love it? No. As my mama said, I got kids to feed. So I mean, like, you have to, even before the kids get here, even before you buy the vial, even before you actually do the whole IUI, IVF, whatever, you're already sacrificing for this child because it's going to take a lot. If you struggle to sacrifice, I'm not saying this ain't the path for you, but maybe rethink that. It requires a lot of sacrifice.
Yes. All right. Anything else?
No, I do actually have something to say. Just enjoy the journey. It's okay if this journey ends up not being your choice. I know some people may feel that, like, because they came in and they made sisterhood and, all those sorts of things, that if they don't choose this, that they're automatically, like, out of the club and, we ain't gonna talk to you no more. No. Everyone's path is different. And sometimes when you begin the journey, your path is set. But then as you start on the journey, end up seeing some other paths that, like, are a better fit. And it's okay to seek those out. There's always going to be a vial on ice you can buy.
And there's always going to be Google. We will find you, Charon.
So I'm saying, like, don't feel so tied to the path that you actually miss your true calling, which may be the single motherhood, or it may be, or you could do the whole known donor things. And I'm not a lot of people talk about that,
Yes, we will have somebody in season 3 talk about that.
Yes. No, I was like, go to the bank, but you're like, no, there's other options. I mean, they come with other issues.
Yeah. So I keep your options open. I keep your options open. Yes. All right, Charon. So where can my listeners find you? I know you have an Instagram. I know you have a YouTube. Why don't you drop them handles?
Okay, my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube handle is Charon Ron with so the CharonRonn. That is a nickname my mother gave me when I was a child, and it just stuck into adulthood. So thank
All
you
right.
so much, guys, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. And we will put your handles in the show notes. So just make sure you send them to me. And it has been such a joy chatting to you, catching up with you, seeing you face to face. I love your energy in person as much as I love it online. So thank you for
I
being
love
such
your energy too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Start to Finish Motherhood with Aisha. If you want to keep the conversation going, follow Start to Finish Motherhood on Instagram or email me at aisha@starttofinishmotherhood.com. If you love this episode, please share it with anyone who's thinking of becoming a single mother by choice, anyone who's already parenting as a single mother by choice and just looking for advice on navigating it all, or a friend or family member who's looking to support someone else's single mother by choice journey. Until next time, bye now.